So then we get to the Hurt Syndicate section of the program. And first, MJF was in the back. And he was telling Ospreay, hey, stay out of Swerve and Page's business. Let the animals eat each other. But Ospreay was being noble and, he wants to do what's best for AEW. And MJF mentions Ospreay's son. And Ospreay snatches MJF up. And suddenly the Hurt Syndicate are all in there and they kind of intimidate Ospreay into letting MJF go, and then MVP calmed it down and everything, but there's tension there. So then the Hurt Syndicate goes to the ring. Imagine that, just in time for the 9:00 hour. And the fans chanted for Bobby, 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 Shelton, Shelton, and then MJF goes for his chant and they boo him. So now we got that going where the people are still kind of getting on MJF, but they like the other guys, and that makes it fun. But then MVP got Bobby Lashley to thumbs down the city of Denver to get boos because Lashley is legitimately from Colorado. And again, MVP is the only person who has the idea of how to do the manager promo these days, where you go out and you put your guys over and talk about how great they are and nobody can beat them. And I don't know why it's so difficult for other people to grasp, but he's the only one doing it. And he said, if the best wrestle here, where are the teams? We got no competition, which is true. And then that was good. And then here comes MJF and the people are booing him. And he starts talking about wanting the world heavyweight title back. And the fans are chanting, shut the fuck up. And I'm thinking, they've got something with this group. And then MJF starts cutting a promo on Mystico. Mystico. On television in the United fucking States. So he did a good job, and he was healing by being a U.S. citizen because most people around the world hate us these days. Plugged Happy Gilmore too. Talked about selling out Arena Mexico and went back to Mystico. He got heat with the promo. But Brian, can you possibly give me any idea why they would book one of their top fucking guys who is the antithesis in the ring of Mystico with fucking Mystico? Because either you have to beat Mystico, which it would seem to me to be counterproductive in his goddamn home country where he's the biggest star, or you've got to beat MJF, who is one of your only big stars, and nobody gives a fuck or knows who the fuck Mystico is on a mainstream basis in the United States of America. So MJF just got beat up by another one of these miscellaneous masked characters. So how is this going to end well?
I'm sure it'll be a great match.
I don't even think it'll be that.
I think it'll be a great match. I think MJF...
Can Mystico keep up with MJF in the ring? Seriously.
I know you hate all luchadors, but Mystico's very good.
I don't hate him, but...
Mystico's very good. He's one of their biggest stars, so they're putting...
And Lucha, is he going to be able to work with MJF without killing him?
I'm going to assume they're going to be fine. MJF has worked with various... I've seen MJF matches with Teddy Hart, so he can work with people who are trying to kill him. If you've never seen any of those matches, they're pretty brutal.
Jesus Christ.
But I'm sure, look, again, Mystico's a big star.
Teddy Hart has a better better grasp of the basics than... All right.
You're putting him in there with a main event guy over there. I mean, in that way, it's good. You're not putting him in there with Hechicero or something, which they did last year, right?
What my thought would be is put somebody that I don't mind sacrificing to Mystico.
Well, that's a different thing.
In the ring with Mystico.
Well, that's a different thing. I think you're right about that. I actually look forward to that match. That would probably be the match I really want to see on that show. But who wins? And how? And if that's Arena Mexico, I want to see that. I want to see MJF working in Arena Mexico on TV. That'll be awesome. Against Mystico, the biggest star there.
I don't. Then he better beat him and cause a riot. Then I'll be all with it, all on it. But if he's going down there, he's going to get beat. What good does it do? AEW has no fucking over main event talent and no main event matches on horizon that anybody would give a shit about in great numbers.
Well, again, not to get too bogged down in the Mystico stuff, because I'm sure we'll review the match when it happens, but I was kind of thinking, this promo from MJF isn't hitting it for me, and I think part of the reason is he's doing it about Mystico. And again, I've already told you I want to see the match, but it went for a little bit, and I was like, yeah, this is like the first MJF Hurt Syndicate segment that's not really hitting for me. And then, like, the surprise happened, and I was like, oh, well, this is fucking ridiculous. Now I love it. This is ridiculous.
Well, and then as I've just mentioned, at least it's still the tag team champions and a former world champion. And even though MJF is talking about somebody that most of the people seeing this television don't know or give a shit about, it's still stars. And then they play music. And I'm like, what the fuck? They had it here. It could have come to an end. Kevin Knight, Commander, and Hong Kong Phooey come out. And MVP called one of them Bruce Leroy. I don't know whether that was Speedball or who, but...
We called one of them Shonuff, and Speedball's costume is more Shonuff, but obviously he's also a white guy, so I don't know.
Well,
or white
Commander,
looking. I don't know what he is, to be honest with you.
Are you sure he's a guy?
I have no idea what he is. I don't know. I don't know anything. I know nothing.
I see nothing. So Commander spoke Spanish and a little bit of English, but then Speedball started speaking some kind of language that wasn't English, but it didn't sound like Spanish. And then he spoke English, and I wished he hadn't. He sounds like fucking Manny on Modern Family. But he actually... There he's standing there. Look at the state of him. You need binoculars to be able to see him in the goddamn building. He's so small. Commander, another miscellaneous guy wearing a mask, and poor Kevin Knight, who's gotten slotted in with these jobbers. And he called them a group of international killers. Not only did MVP horse laugh, but the people, the fans laughed. It was like Bambi announcing, I'm vicious, get away.
And here's my friend Commander.
Yes, and here's my friend Commander, who will now speak in an unknown language. So then Kevin Knight finally challenged him. And that's again, what did I just say? You can't get stars over if they're constantly interacting with fucking underneath guys and job guys and mid-card guys as equals and as some threat or as someone deserving of their attention. And MVP said, no, you haven't earned it. So impress us and earn it. And the heels walked off and left them so they could have their 6-man tag. But then they have the 6-man tag, which is Kevin Knight, Commander, and Hong Kong Phooey against Rush, Frank Mortis, and Drilistico. And they go 15 minutes. And then for no reason, Commander did his tightrope walk and dove onto a guy outside the ring, just apropos of nothing. While the guys inside the ring waited for him to do that, and then Kevin Knight splashed one of the heels, 1, 2, 3. And then the Hurt Syndicate comes back out and says, okay, we're going to wrestle you guys next week in a 6-man tag. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, these 3 children. Yes, if you're going to book it as a TV match where the 3 top heels just beat the shit out of these guys, fine. You don't need to advertise that ahead of time. You don't need to set it up. You don't need to create doubt in people's mind as to whether the baby faces might win, because they're not going to. And you don't want people to think that they could, because you don't want people to think that Kevin Knight, Commander, and Speedball can beat your 3 most over fucking heels. Jesus H. Christ. So then and I'm not blaming MVP because God knows this was not their idea, but they are being paid to do a job. So I guess they have to go along with some things. He sends Shelton and Bobby to the ring, and suddenly Commander just gets out on the floor so that the two minute baby faces can fight the Hurt Syndicate. And they duck and dodge and drop kick him out of the ring. And then MJF gets in the ring and he has to stand there and wait like a stooge to be drop kicked by the fucking masked fellow. And then they all do a triple dive on the heels, and the heels are like, oh my God, they're off balance. And they're that works if it's in any way remotely a competitive situation. This is not. You're just devaluing your top talent by pretending it is. For the fans who like silly, bumpy movie wrestling, I'm sure they'll like the match. For trying to draw any money or get anybody established in proper positioning, this is garbage. That's why stars don't get over in AEW. They get under, they get devalued, and you never get a chance to see what they can do because, with the exception, I believe, of the Hurt Syndicate, nobody in AEW is ever as over 3 months after they arrive as they are the first day on the job. Can you argue with anything I just said there?
No, typically that's true. I can't think of another example of someone who, well, I mean, Punk, but that's been a while ago. Although his first night in was like, he was wild.
No, I mean, he was hard. He's about as over as he was going to get once he got there. And they managed to do a job on him too.
You looking forward to seeing Bobby sell for those kicks from Speedball Mike Bailey?
No, they've got to do something to calm that little shit down and goozle him into fucking compliance, because that could make them look ridiculous more than anything. They haven't really done anything to look completely ridiculous on this TV yet, and I think they're the only ones I can say that about.
They definitely have to do the spot where Commander runs across the ring on the top rope and jumps and does a flip onto like Bobby or I was going to say Stanley. Bobby or Shelton. And they just,
onto Bobby or Stan?
and they just catch him. And they just catch him and don't drop him. You know that'll happen. But big 6-man tag match. You can't find tag teams. The team of international killers, obviously, will be the ones to take it to the Hurt Syndicate.
Only if you're talking about Gates. If you're talking about box office proceeds, then maybe that's correct. But I tell you, Brian, to be honest with you, I don't see any way in the future that Hong Kong Phooey is going to make a dime unless he immediately has a brilliant inspiration for how to sell some type of line of children's clothing with his name and face on it, and he gets his own store on the internet and is powered by Shopify.
Oh,
I don't see any other way he can possibly make any money because, let's face it, he can't communicate. He opened his mouth for the first time on TV and people laughed at him. I mean, well, you know, that's not really good when you're not saying shit that's supposed to be funny. Now, if you're a stand-up comic, you might feed off of that type of thing. But Hong Kong Phooey ain't got a lot going for him, and this wrestling thing probably ain't going to last long. I think he needs a store powered by Shopify. You know what Shopify powers, don't you?
yes. I didn't know if you were really asking. Yes, they power.
Yes, that's a question.
They power our online t-shirt store, and of course, they power businesses for people all across the land, just like they can power the business of the listeners.
Yeah, a big pow, too. Pow! Right in a kisser, because they're the commerce platform behind 10% of all the e-commerce in the United States, from household names like Mattel to brands just getting started, like you, the small person out there, the little person out there, the minute, insignificant individual like you listening to my voice right now that wants to make $1 million, but the only thing standing in your way is you don't know how to make a fucking $1 million. Well, don't worry about that because Shopify does. They've got millions they've already made, and they can make millions more, and they'll give you some of it if people buy your merchandise. The way they can buy your merchandise is by you going to Shopify and getting them to help you from day one with hundreds of beautiful, ready-to-go templates to express your brand style. Don't worry about working on coding and all that stuff because they can do it. They've got templates. They've got websites. They've got web persons that just tie a web around you. And from inventory to payments to analytics, they'll take care of everything. They'll do the books. Don't dare question their bookkeeping. I'll tell you what, that's when they have to send George over. George has the eye patch and a fucking cauliflower ear. Don't question their bookkeeping.
There is no
but
George.
Spread
question
your brand's
whatever
word.
you like. They are honest. They are honest brokers. They are there for you to work with your business, build things up like sales Shopify.
Yes. I'd suggest you ask other people questions, though, because they don't like that. Spread your brand's word with built-in marketing and email tools to find and keep new customers. The new customers, once you find them and you keep them, they can't get away from you. They're inextricably bound by Shopify and their super secret system.
No.
Which, of course, involves finding out the closest relatives of your new customers.
No, it does not. No, it does not.
And did I mention, Brian, that iconic purple Shop Pay button that's used by millions of businesses around the world? Yes. Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. Your customers already love it, and they can install that button. So when people hit that button, all around the world, it doesn't matter what they're hitting that button for, you're going to get a piece of it. It's all part of the plan. You're going to be one of the button people.
Well, no.
And
no.
Well, okay, well, you wear zippers at the meeting and see what happens then. But folks, if you want to be one of the button people with that iconic purple button, people press it, and that's what happens. Then right now, go to Shopify.com/JCE. That's Shopify.com/JCE. Sign up for the $1 a month trial period where they can show you what they can do, and then you'll start selling today. And you'll sell and you'll sell and you'll sell like an auctioneer. You'll sell like you're going to the electric chair. You'll sell like they waltz you across Texas. And then you'll get your comeback to the locker room. And there you will find a pot of gold at the end of the urinal in the locker room. Shopify.com/JCE.